Good evening. We're here with the PeeDeePost and the PeeDeePost.com with Jason Buckner of Rockingham and Emily Braddock of Hamlet. Jason at age 38 and Emily at 21 will be the stars in the play Love Letters by A.J. Gurney. The play opens on October 23rd at Richmond Community Theater in downtown Rockingham. And Jason, tell me a little bit about your character, Senator Andrew Ladd III, and how this play, tell me a little bit about how this play goes.
Well, the play begins with both characters being fairly young in elementary school, and they develop a little bit of a relationship just kind of over passing notes in class and or postcards, and the more serious and more lengthy correspondence kind of as they age. And the play kind of follows the two of them. It's a little bit challenging to play because we don't actually get to look at each other, and because we're both kind of in our separate worlds here on stage, and so that's been tricky. As we've practiced, we've tried to kind of build some sort of emotional bond between these characters, and by visually connecting, with each other. But now that we're actually in costume and we're on stage, we got our stuff all oriented where we're supposed to be. We're really like, oh, can't look over that way, that kind of stuff. So Andy's a neat guy. I am nothing at all like Andy Ladd, but
is that good or bad?
Certainly
the character has to have good points for the audience to like him.
Well, one would hope. That's a good question. I mean, he's not a bad guy, I suppose. He's got his flaws, like we all do, I suppose. But
well, Emily, what about your character, Melissa Gardner? What does she bring to the play as Mr. Gurney wrote it, and what do you bring to the character on stage?
Oh, wow. Well, Melissa I would describe as almost a complete opposite of Andy. I guess you could say that Andy is more of a calmer person, and then Melissa is really just no boundaries sometimes, really can be in your face, especially with Andy. But throughout the play, you see her grow, and she's, I guess maybe to give a little away, it's a lot of up and down to be expected. And as far as me, I feel like I don't know, I wouldn't say I can relate on some things with her, but then on the other hand, there's a lot of different things that I've got to experience, playing Melissa that I, probably would never have if not. I don't know how to.
And Emily, this is your second show with the Richmond Community Theater.
Yes.
In the last year, you also played All the King's Women here. And what attracted you to audition for this role this time?
Well, I definitely just wanted to be back and get my feet in the water again. And but when I read the initial storyline or whatever, I just thought, oh, love letters, that sounds really nice and fun. And then when we got the script, it was like, that doesn't exactly sound, like what you would think, which is definitely going to be, I think, a good shock to people. It's not what you expect. But once I actually read through the script, I just kind of fell in love with it. I think Melissa, in her own way, is this woman who is so complex that as much, I don't know, complications or whatever, to me, I have to love her. I don't know. I feel the same way about Andy, too. I mean, I feel like the opposites they are, it's a good match, in a way, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Jason, while Emily, I almost called you Melissa, while Emily, is returning to the stage after a short break, your break has been a little bit longer, according to Shelley Walker, the Richmond Community Theater director. You've taken a break of about 30 years. You were here last with the Young People's Theater, the summer program?
That's right. I grew up in Rockingham, so I was participating in they called it the Children's Theater back then.
What brought you back after 30 years? It's like, oh yeah, I remember that? Or something a little bit more complex?
A lot of therapy. I've let these guys know that I had years of nightmares about missing my cue, forgetting my lines, being on stage in my underwear, all kinds of really pleasant things.
And that doesn't happen in this play, correct?
Well, actually, I spent some time in college doing improv comedy where there are no lines, so I think that kind of broke it. And then when I read about this play, it's about people reading love letters, or letters to each other. I can read. I can do that, you know?
Sure.
So maybe it was a little bit of optimism that maybe I could pull it off.
Okay.
We'll
Now,
see. We'll see.
for those already watching and only the few minutes we've gotten on video so far, Jason, you're a bit of a cut-up, a comedian, and so how, I know you're shocked, but how, there are serious parts to this, that there are funny parts, there are romantic parts, but there are serious parts to this play as well. How do you portray that when you're a naturally on, lean towards the funny side?
You know, I think, let me speak with great experience as an actor. Everyone has to reach deep within themselves and find something, when they're upset or angry, something to kind of focus that anger at. I have a little sister, and that's all it takes. Someone I think once asked Stephen King, like, where does he get all his ideas for his books from? And he said something like, I have the heart of a small boy in a jar on my desk. And so it's kind of like that, I guess. Maybe it's a little bit sick and twisted on the inside, but...
Okay. Love Letters,
Love
opening
Letters.
October 23rd
Community Theater.
at Richmond Community Theater in downtown Rockingham, and you will see Jason and Emily portray A.J. Gurney's show on stage. Thank you so much for your time.
You bet.